Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to yet another AFK journey video. So in this AFK journey video, we're going to talk about the upcoming seasonal artifacts in Waves of Intrigue. And I gotta say, all these different artifacts, they are very unique in their specific ways. And there's a lot of team building possibilities moving forward with them. And in today's video, we're going to talk about their abilities as well as their stats distribution so that you guys have a clearer picture as to what sort of variety you'll be getting. Okay, so first of all, I'll start with my very own favorite Tidecall spell right here. So Tidecall spell has a very similar ability to the Starshot spell. After your team casts upwards to 5 ultimates, you will be able to send this tidal waves to strike all enemies to deal damage while inflicting the soaked status. So this status allows you to do more damage on the enemy, upwards to 25% more, and cause the enemies to deal less damage, allowing your team to survive better. So the stats it provides are HP, crit as well as haste, and increase in level further increases the damage. And once you reach level 20 or plus 20, you will be able to trigger your wave strike more frequently. So this ability, I would say, would be probably really useful for the Dream Realm side of things, but there is still a lot of testing to be done. So far, I'm finding a lot of success with this one, and that's for the very first one, Tidecall spell. So the second one is known as the Frontline spell. So as the name suggests, this is a very frontline centric artifact because it requires your unit to actually be on the front line in order to fully benefit from this spell itself. So the buffs are physical, magical defense, haste, as well as life drain. So the ability is whenever an allied hero first enters the enemy side of the battlefield, it grants the hero a permanent shield equals to your team's attack. And when 3 different allied hero enters the enemy side of the battlefield, you get a banner of inspiration, which increases damage dealt by all allies and reduces damage taken by them when they're on the enemy side of the battlefield. So increase in level increases the damage buff as well as provide the life drain on ally to give more survivability. So this is an extremely good spell if you're able to utilize the frontlining power a lot, because your units need to be on the enemy side of the battlefield for you to fully utilize from this artifact itself. But there are a lot of teams right now that are very melee centric, and obviously one of the best unit to help you proc this spell as quickly as possible is none other than Fresto, who is very popular in the Dream Realm side of things. So you guys can sort of theorycraft and speculate what sort of combos you can do with this one, but this is one of the better artifacts in my honest opinion based on my initial testings. So next one we have Swiftheal spell, which is your usual healing artifact. So for this one, it provides attack, physical, magical defense, as well as vitality buff. So 8 seconds into a battle, you cast a healing wave to restore a certain amount of HP to the weakest ally every 12 seconds, and then this healing wave will bounce to the next weakest ally and can bounce upwards to 2 times. So a very simple AoE heal sort of artifact, and I think this is actually a lot better than the usual single target heal. In a sense, if you have multiple heal waves running around and if you're able to heal multiple targets, this Swiftheal spell would be more than sufficient in scenarios where you don't have any sustain in your team, right? You just rely on Swiftheal spell to keep your whole team healthy. So this is one artifact to look out for. So the next artifact is Verdant spell. So this is a very similar artifact to Evocation spell in a sense. It provides a buff to your team based on the class. So this buff lasts for 5 seconds, and for each different class deployed, you are able to increase the duration upwards to 8 seconds. So ideally, you want 3 different classes in your team, and the stats it provides are attack, HP, physical, and magical defense. So taking a look at the different buffs over here, we got 20 points of life drain for warrior, 20% damage reduction for tanks, 20 points of penetration, 20 points of haste for support, 35 points of attack speed for marksman, and 20% energy speed regen for mage itself. So increase in levels increases the value of the buff. And in general, what I'll say for Verdant spell itself is that this spell right here, right, it has a lot of similarity to Evocation spell and might be something that a lot of people think will be really good. I personally think it is a very good artifact itself, right? But if you take a look at the stats itself, it's more on the defensive side. So I would say this spell would probably be better off in your PvE stage, and maybe to a certain extent PvP, depending on how you team build and what units you utilize, because there's quite a bit of stats from this artifacts itself, right? A lot of defense, quite a bit of HP and also an attack boost, but there isn't really much haste built into this artifact, so that's why I'm a little bit, I'll say, like sassy with regards to how well the late game of this artifact will be. But this is definitely one artifact to look out for, because depending on the unit combination, depending on your team builds itself, you can actually get quite a lot from the different buffs that he's able to provide. I think the offensive ones like penetration for road, 35 point of attack speed boost, as well as the 20% energy regen speed is definitely going to be something that people will start building Dream Realm teams around. So that's something to look forward to. So that's for Verdant spell. And next we have Greatsword spell. So Greatsword spell is the physical side of things. And then we also have the Arcane spell. So these are the stats distribution for Greatsword spell. Whenever your allies' physical damage dealt reaches 750% of your initial team attack, summons a giant sword from the sky to strike the area with the most enemies to deal physical damage and reduce physical defense. So for those of you guys who are in the Song of Strife season, this is very similar to the Quick Blade spell, right? So Quick Blade spell is sword dropped every fixed interval, whereas for this one you do, I'll say, like quite a bit of damage if you're able to build up your physical attack quick enough. So this is if your team's damage is able to scale really fast, really quickly. This is a very powerful offensive buff for the physical teams, but I haven't really tried this a lot because I'm using more of the magical teams for my content push itself. So for now I won't say too much about this one, but the animation for this looks really good. It's literally a giant sword falling down and then causing an AoE burst on the ground itself. So that's for the Greatsword spell. And then we have the Arcane spell. So Arcane spell is the magical side of the Greatsword spell. This one gives you attack, physical, magical defense, as well as defense penetration. And whenever your team's magical damage dealt reaches 750% of your initial team's attack, fire 3 magical projectile, each targeting the frontmost enemy and prioritizing enemies who haven't been hit. So each projectile deals magical damage and reduces the target's magical defense. So increase in level increases the damage dealt, while once you reach level 20 you get more magical defense reduction. So for Arcane spell itself, I have quite a few experience using it, specifically for the Dream Realm runs as well as certain AFK stage with my magical teams. I think this is a good artifact all around, but comparing this to some of the really sick looking ones like Tidecall spell, Frontline spell, as well as Verdant spell, I think there is a lot of room for experimentation. Maybe I'm not building the team right to hyper accelerate my magical damage dealt, so I can't really fully utilize this ability, but then it looks like a really good spell if you're able to get that 50% magical damage reduction moving forward. So definitely something to test once we are able to reach that stage. So that's for the Arcane spell. And then we have Binding spell. So Binding spell is pretty much Confining spell but on steroids, because 3 seconds into a battle you levitate the rearmost enemies every 16 seconds, imprison them for 1 second. So imprison basically prevents them from using their skill as well as attack, so you slow them down, throw them at another rearmost enemy, and this collision causes physical damage and stun them for 1 second. So you can reduce the cooldown of this skill by increasing the levels, and you can extend the stun duration of the collision once you reach the level 20 part of the skill itself. Very similar to Confining spell for those of you guys who are in the preseason. So for this one, what I'm gonna say about this is it's probably gonna be an arena favorites, because Confining spell has been such a OP artifact for the preseason itself that I don't see why Binding spell won't see much use. And the stats that it provides are massive, by the way. If you take a look at the numbers, it's even higher than the previous champ, right? It's even high. It's as high as Swiftheal spell on the physical and magical defense at level 10, 13.2, right? This is 16.8. So it is a very defensive artifact with some crit buff, but a lot of control, giving you some, I'll say, like PvP viability there. So that's for the Binding spell. And then we have Thunderclap spell. So this is a spell which I haven't seen a lot of people use, neither have I used it a lot so far, but this one is an offensive spell that casts 2 of the following spell alternately every 3 seconds. So you do physical damage plus extra damage equals to 2% of the current HP, and then the second one is the Blue Lightning, deals magical damage equals to 30% of your team's attack, and then extra damage equals to 2% of their lost HP. So increase in levels increases the damage dealt, and once you reach level 20, whenever a non-summon enemy is defeated, grant all ally a shield equals to 20% of the team's attack. So this artifact, I'll say my first impression of it is I don't know how to use it, because it deals damage both on the physical side as well as the magical side, and I don't know how to fully optimize this one. But the thing is, looking at the every 3-second casting thing, there could be some, I'll say, like teams that could benefit from this spell spamming ability, which I probably haven't discovered yet, or maybe nobody have discovered yet. So this is something that is definitely worth trying, because there is some survivability once you reach level 20, and this continuous spam is every 3 seconds, by the way. So if you're talking about like a full Dream Realm run, it's 90 seconds. That's like nearly 30 strikes on the enemy, so that's quite a bit of damage. If you factor in the fact that you actually do extra damage equals to 2% of their current health, so it could be a very good Dream Realm artifact. Who knows, right? This is something that is worth testing. So this is for the Thunderclap spell. So next one, we have Resonating Spell. So Resonating Spell gives haste, HP as well as attack. So when a battle starts, designate the rearmost allies as a resonator. Whenever another ally casts their ultimate, the resonator recovers 60 energy. The resonator can only recover upwards to 1500 energy per battle, and when the resonator casts their ultimate, they enter a blast state for 6 seconds, granting immunity and a 35% increase to their attack. So this blessing cannot stack in the event if they cast their ultimate 2 times. So increase in level increases the energy recovery, and once you reach level 20, each time the resonator casts their ultimate, they'll recover HP and allow them to survive better. So this is a very, I'll say, like carry centric artifact. So I can see people thinking that, hey, maybe this with hyper carries like Dino or hyper carries like Lily May is actually really powerful. But I do think that this on a support is nothing to be scoffed at, because right, this ability to recover energy quickly will provide a lot of offensive buff for your team. For example, if you're running the smoky teams, and right, being able to spam your ultimate on Hewin is definitely something that is really appreciated, because Hewin doesn't recover energy when she's casting the ultimate, but if you put her at the back, she will be able to recover energy whenever other allies are casting their ultimate, as she's channeling her ultimate itself. So there is a lot of combo potential for this Resonating Spell, which I would definitely be doing the test for, because I do think that there are a few teams that can really work with Resonating Spell. So we shall wait and see how it goes for this one. So that's for the Resonating Spell. Okay, next we talk about the very last artifact, known as the Veiler of Valorshield spell. So this one provides physical, magical defense, attack, as well as haste. When a battle start, grants a shield equals to 100% of the team's attack to the frontmost as well as the rearmost ally. And when the shield is active, the shielded ally remains immune to control effect, and the frontmost ally gains 75% physical and magical defense, while the rearmost ally gains 60 haste. So increase in level increases the shield value, and once you reach the plus 20 mark, increase the frontmost ally's physical and magical defense boost to 90%, and the rearmost allies haste boost to 75, and extends the shield duration to 12 seconds. Okay, so this is a very interesting protect the carry and frontliner artifact. So only 2 of your units will get the buff, but the buffs are actually really insane, considering that it's 60 haste for your carry, because the rearmost ally is usually your carry at the back line, and then a massive defense boost for your frontliner. So this means that these units, they are not dying, because on top of all these boosts, they're also getting a massive 100% shield based off the team's attack. So this is something which I think might work for hyper carry teams as well. So both Resonating as well as Valorshield is more so for the hyper carry teams that are able to benefit a lot from having a super duper powerful single core unit. For example, Dino team, which I mentioned earlier, Lily May team specifically, if you are hyper carrying with Lily May, even units like Arden is also pretty good, because as long as Arden can survive and output damage, the additional haste is gonna benefit Arden in terms of outputting even more damage for the team itself. So this is another artifact which I'll definitely be trying out more. But right now, personally, I have been trying a lot of Tidecall, more success with it in terms of general pushing. We have Frontline spell, Verdant spell is also really good. I use Binding spell from time to time for certain contents where I need more control, and I've been trying out like the Resonating as well as Valorshield more as well, to just see how well they'll fare in different conditions. So yeah, that's pretty much it all the everything you need to know with regards to the upcoming artifacts. And as usual, things for the Waves of Intrigue season might still be bound to changes, so do take note of that. Do take this with a pinch of salt as a reference points to Cherrycraft and speculate with regards to your team building for the Wave of Intrigue season. And that's it for this video. As usual, let me know what you think about all these upcoming artifacts. Which one is your favorite so far? Why you love them? You know, what are the things that can be improved with all these artifacts in the comment section down below. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.